You make decent money. You know you do. When someone asks how things are going, you say fine, because objectively, by most measures, they are. You have a job, a salary that sounds reasonable when you say the number out loud, and a life that looks stable from the outside. And yet, quietly, privately, there is this persistent feeling that you are just barely keeping up, that your account is always lower than it should be, that you're one unexpected expense away from stress, that somehow, with a salary other people would be grateful for, you still feel financially thin, like the money is always somewhere, just never quite with you. That feeling, honestly, is more common than the salary bracket it comes from would suggest. My name is Threk, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, the psychology behind it, and why so many people who earn well still feel broke in a way they can't quite articulate. Not because they're bad with money, but because nobody has ever clearly explained the specific mechanisms that create this gap between earning and feeling financially secure. And that's what this is. Not a lecture about budgeting, not a list of things you're doing wrong, but a real explanation of why the feeling exists and what it's actually pointing to. Because here's the thing, feeling broke on a decent salary isn't irrational. It's a symptom, and symptoms point to causes, and causes can be addressed. The first cause, and this is the one I think about most, is the invisible expansion of fixed costs over time. When your salary increases, your lifestyle tends to upgrade to match it. Better apartment, better car, better subscriptions, better everything. And each individual upgrade was probably a reasonable decision at the time, but collectively what's happened is that your fixed costs, the bills that come out every month regardless of what you do, have grown to consume the same percentage of your income as they did when you earned less, sometimes more. So even though your salary number is higher, the breathing room between income and expenses feels identical to what it was years ago. You're running the same race on a bigger track. This is lifestyle inflation, and we've talked about versions of it before, but the specific thing I want you to notice here isn't just that it happens, it's that it happens to your fixed costs, which makes it almost invisible on a month-to-month basis. A variable expense you can see and feel, a fixed cost you just accept as the price of your current life, and over time the fixed costs accumulate until your salary, whatever it is essentially spoken for before it arrives. The actionable piece here is an audit of your fixed costs specifically, not your total spending, just the bills that are automatic, recurring, and non-negotiable as currently structured. Write the number down, then ask seriously which of these are genuinely non-negotiable and which have just become comfortable. You'll find some that can be renegotiated, downgraded, or eliminated. Even finding 2 or 3 gives you breathing room that feels disproportionate to the actual dollar amount. The second cause is something I'd call the comparison trap, and it's deeply tied to how the brain measures well-being. We don't experience our financial situation in absolute terms. We experience it relative to the people around us, which means that if your social circle, your neighborhood, your professional context has gradually moved up market with you or slightly ahead of you, your decent salary is constantly being benchmarked against a reference group that makes it feel insufficient. The colleague who just bought a house, the friend who seems to travel constantly, the social media feed that shows everyone else's financial highlight reel without the underlying debt or family money or different cost of living picture. And the brain, which is wired for social comparison in ways that were very useful evolutionarily and very unhelpful financially, registers all of this as evidence that you're behind, that your salary, despite being objectively decent, is not enough, that you're failing some unspoken standard. This is not a character flaw. It's a cognitive pattern, but it does create a felt sense of financial lack that has almost nothing to do with your actual numbers and everything to do with who you're comparing yourself to. The shift here isn't to isolate yourself or stop caring about what others are doing, it's to consciously choose your financial benchmarks. Compare your present to your own past. Measure your progress against your own goals. Because the moment your reference point becomes internal rather than external, your decent salary suddenly starts feeling different. It's the same money, different frame. The third cause is the one that surprises people most, which is the absence of visible financial progress. Feeling broke isn't only about having too little, it's also about feeling like nothing is building. If your salary arrives, covers your expenses, and disappears into the general fog of your financial life without any visible accumulation happening anywhere, your brain reads that as being broke, even if all your bills are paid. There's no evidence of forward movement, no growing number anywhere, and the psychological experience of treading water, even comfortably, is not that different from sinking. The fix isn't necessarily saving huge amounts, it's making sure that some amount, even a small one, is visibly accumulating somewhere. A savings account that's growing, an investment account that has any balance in it at all, a debt that's decreasing. Any metric that shows the direction is forward, because the brain needs evidence of progress to stop generating financial anxiety. And right now, for a lot of decent salary earners, that evidence simply isn't there. Not because the money isn't coming in, but because no system exists to make the accumulation visible. The fourth cause is tax and deduction opacity. A lot of people who feel broke on a decent salary have never actually calculated what their take-home pay is relative to their gross salary. And more importantly, they've never fully mapped what percentage of their take-home is already claimed before they make a single discretionary decision. Tax, pension contributions, insurance, parking, whatever comes out at source, these deductions can bring a salary that sounds substantial down to a number that surprises people when they actually look at it clearly. The felt sense of earning decent money collides with the reality of what actually lands in the account, and the gap between expectation and reality is its own source of financial stress. Knowing your real number, actual take-home after everything, is step one of almost every financial improvement. You cannot plan with a gross salary. You can only plan with what actually arrives. Feeling broke on a decent salary is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that your income has outpaced your financial structure. The fixed costs expanded, the comparison benchmarks shifted, the accumulation got lost in the flow, and the real number never got properly confronted. None of these are permanent conditions. All of them have specific responses. Audit the fixed costs, reframe the comparison, create visible accumulation, and know the real number. You earn decent money. It's time for your financial life to actually feel like it.